I deity, two deities become divine. Consulted Ifa for the Godhead when coming from heaven to earth. All mankind assemble and worship the Godhead as King. The Holy Ode Otun. All right, that's where the reading was from. Everyone embodies sacred deity, and not until one is awakened to the divinity within, every form of external worship and veneration will just only be for fun. For anyone to truly practice the consciousness of a particular deity and Orisa, such a person must first practice the consciousness of his or her own divinity. Ori labon ke ato bo Orisa. This means we worship the Godhead within before worshiping the deities. Our head is the first deity. Our consciousness must be acknowledged and even worshipped as the will direct our path to the recognition of the various divinities. The ancestors lay down as part of the ancient wisdom the guide to which we can all venerate our consciousness, and commonly in traditional practices, every now and again we worship our head to clear our path for a seamless journey in life. Every item used to venerate your Ori have a symbolic meaning and have power to influence your Ori with its energy. You will use Ashe to speak life into your Ori. Ori can be venerated with many materials as long as you know the essence of the material, and sometimes you do not have to always wait to have all the material before venerating your Ori. You can present anything to your Ori, even if it's just water. Water have life in it. Cool water can be offered to your Ori. Honor your Ori with words of adoration. All right, now I'm going to stop reading. But to many persons, this may seem like a very strange concept. But if I explain these concepts in modern psychological terms, and I use terms like affirmation, and I use terms like self-talk, you would be familiar with the psychology that is implied in the practices of such forms of psychology. Our ancestors have known for a very long time that communicating with our mind, or what some call the Ori, in our tradition it is referred to as such, that you are able to influence your life in a way where good, positive patterns manifest themselves. Now, in the tradition, we are taught that no good things can occur in our lives unless our Ori approves. In psychological terms, we talk about having a positive outlook. We talk about having enthusiasm and looking forward to all the positive things in life. In psychology, they would teach you that having the right attitude is what, in most instances, would guarantee good results whenever you approach any situation. Our ancestors knew that it was more than just a concept, and they have fully capitalized on this by also understanding not only your Ori, which is a part of your spiritual existence, but they also respect the divinity in everything else in their environment and everything else around them. They have also discovered that the reality is that everything that exists physically has a spiritual essence. And as a result of which, when you use anything that is helpful to you in a positive way, you add energy physically and spiritually to your own spirit and body. All right? You would know, you would hear people speak about, having multivitamins and having various forms of nutrition. And it's important that you eat these things in order so that you can be healthy. Note well that the organ that you use to ingest these things are in your head. So therefore, anything that we consume or ingest, whether it be physically or psychologically, affects our body, and it also affects our spirit. All right, I'm going to do just a little more reading from the book that is called Ifa Enlightenment. And I would discuss it a little bit just as I did with the reading I did previously, and then we would close off for this evening. This section of the book speaks about the three major aspects of Ori. All right? One of the things that I think we would need to understand and know is that the word Ori also translates to the word destiny. All right, and I'm saying this because I'm now going to read, and in the section that talks about the three major aspects of Ori, Ori is going to be described in relation to one's destiny. All right, the Holy Odu, Irosun Onche, says, Akunleyan eda, adaye tan oju eniyan ni, Bike ake tun edaya, ayafi ti aba tun aya wa, or aye wa. All right, this translates to, we kneel down, or we knelt down and chose our destinies. We arrived on earth and we are in haste. Yet destiny cannot be rechosen until one reincarnates. All right, the three aspects of one Ori is described by these Yoruba words: Akunleya, Akunlegba, and Ayanmo. All right, I'm going to read what these three aspects of Ori are so that we could have a brief understanding of it. All right, and I mean for persons who probably hearing these terms the first time and is learning of the Ifa or the Yoruba Cosmology, I will encourage you. We have virtual classes that teaches the fundamentals of Ifa. And even if you're Olorisha or Babalorisha and you are not conversant with these concepts, you can join the fundamental of Ifa classes that would be starting next week. All right, now first I'm going to read a little bit on what is Akunleya. All right, now keep in mind the word kunle means to kneel. All right, Akunleya, this is a segment of destiny that occurs when we each kneel in front of Olodumare in the presence of Orunmila and Ajogun to choose the good and bad of our destiny in the spiritual realm before we came into the physical world. All right? Practically all religious concepts teach us of something that is called an afterlife. Our ancestors understood the spiritual existence in such great detail that they have taught us that even before our birth on this planet, that we existed in Orun. All right, I'm going to read now on the other two. The next one I'm going to read on is called Akunlegba. This segment reveals when we willingly accept and take responsibility for our individual choices. Our decisions and choices is what create our destiny. We are fully conscious of our choices and we accept it, thus take full responsibility for it all. All right, and the last and third part or aspect of our Ori is called Ayan-mo. This is the segment of destiny that cannot be tampered with by rituals or ebo. It will forever be until you live it out. It is deeply woven in with a karmic thread. All circles open must be closed. All right. Ayanmo expresses itself in two forms. Ipi, or some people say Ipin, and Kadara. All right. This duo are the yin and yang of Ayanmo, the positive and negative of individuals' lives. They are what makes up Ayanmo, and they are formed via choices. Kadara is the good yang or positive side or positive good side of Ayanmo, while Ipin is the yin or Ipi is the yin or negative or bad side of Ayanmo. I'm going to read now a Yoruba proverb. It says, Ayanmo obo ogun ojo iku obwa ebo, which translate, Yamo cannot or can't be altered by medicine, which means herbs or roots. The day of transition can't take no sacrifice. All right, I'm going to read another proverb. It says, Aba shebon aba yogun biati pwe a ori bayela riri, which translates to, even if you make sacrifice, get herbs and roots and charms, together, one will turn out exactly how one was destined. Nothing can alter it. All right, so basically that explains the three important aspects of one's Ori, or the other word in English is one's destiny. It is very, very important that when we talk about Ayanmo, these are the type of choices that are irreversible. And I would give maybe 2 examples or so. The family that you are born into, that could never be changed. Your gender, it doesn't matter how good medical science has become and their ability to do different surgical procedures that would make one appear to be of another gender. It remains genetically and biologically the same. Whatever you had at birth, that is what you will have until you go to the grave. And even after, if you were to be exhumed and your DNA is to be tested, it's still going to reveal what you were born as. Okay, so the other aspects of your destiny can be altered or modified through rituals, with the exception, of course, of Ayanmo. All right, so that is going to be the lesson for tonight. For those who have heard and need to know more, for those who have heard and is a little bit confused, for those who heard and is trying to relate it to what you know, such as a concept called predestination, join the class and I would give you the full explanation. I would explain to you the terms that we describe, that we use to describe what I referred to here in the reading as reincarnation. There is a term and a concept we use in the Yoruba cosmology that describes one returning. All right, it's called Atunwa. Right, if you want to know more about Atunwa, we have Fundamentals of Ifa class. All right, so I want to thank everyone for stopping in. And I want to give the words of admonition that I give every week. You do good for yourself. You do bad for yourself. And as a result, I always recommend and I advise people to always do good. Be on the right side of history. Leave for your offsprings and your descendants and the generations that come after you the blessing of Ire and Ashe because of your right actions. All right, and for all the members of the community who have viewed this stream, I encourage you to hold fast, to apply your knowledge of Ifa, particularly in these difficult times that are ahead of us. I would suggest that we all unify ourselves, cooperate, where we would be able to start doing things that under different difficult circumstances we would be able to help each other, sustain ourselves, feed our community, and do all that is necessary for our progress and development as a people. All right, and with that, I would like to say Odabo and thank you for joining me.